Rachel Campos-Duffy, a Fox News contributor, and Jason Nichols, an African-American studies professor at University of Maryland. Great to have you both here on this holiday evening, and a rainy one as well. All right, so the crisis on the border has literally come down to a life or death situation. Two Guatemalan children, I said Honduras, I meant Guatemala earlier, recently died in U.S. custody. Just last week, a California police officer was killed by an illegal immigrant of Mexico. The officer's death once again fueling a national debate over California's sanctuary policies. I want to start with you, Jason. What is it going to take for Democratic leadership to see the need for more money to secure our borders, to prevent these deaths and others?
Well, Julie, I think that Democrats absolutely believe in border security. We are willing to put up money even for border security. We just don't think a wall is effective. We've seen that, first of all, it won't stop the flow of drugs. There are eminent domain issues, and there are environmental issues, and there are better ways to secure our borders. We know that most people come through ports of entry. We know that that is the main way that people come through. There are other ways that we can secure our borders. $300 million for scanners would make a big difference in terms of human trafficking and many of the other issues that face us on the border.
Those two children could possibly be alive tonight had a wall been in place. But Rachel, I mean, would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are lots of incentives in our immigration policies for people to bring children. In fact, human smugglers will give a discount to people coming over the border illegally if they bring a child because they know they're more likely to be able to stay. This is absolutely not a compassionate policy. What I will say is, despite the need for a wall, 56% of Americans oppose the idea of a wall. So in this case, our guest is right. People don't like the idea of a wall. So I think what President Trump and some of his other spokespeople have been trying to do is explain what he means by a wall. He means metal slats. He means, technology. Maybe what the president needs to do is stop talking about just a wall, right, and maybe make that more effective. I don't think, by the way, Julie, that despite having a great Twitter account and lots of followers, the time that he spent in Washington, he has a lot of people have Twitter accounts. You know what nobody else has other than him is an Oval Office. For the life of me, I cannot understand why he didn't take time while Nancy Pelosi was in Hawaii and while he was in Washington, D.C. and canceled all of his plans for Christmas and New Year's, why he didn't hold an Oval Office address to the nation on all the other networks, including ours, and explain and frame this issue. It's about border security. It's about drugs that are killing little towns across America. Why didn't he do that?
Jason, what's your reaction to that?
Well, first of all, we know that this president has spent 200 days on the golf course, which is about a third of his presidency.
Okay, but let's not talk about the past. Let's talk about right now. He stayed in Washington for this.
Let's not praise him for staying and doing his job. Now, the other thing that I will say...
Well, it's more than Nancy Pelosi.
We're not necessarily... Okay, first of all, there's no praise being thrown out here. I'm merely just pointing out the fact that the president stayed in Washington while a lot of Democrats did not, and the government is partially shut down. That's all I'm bringing up.
And again,
I don't praise anybody.
Fair. Okay. But again, this is a shutdown that he took credit for. He said, I will be proud to shut down the government. So he shut down the government. He owns this. And there are other means of border security that we can actually do that would be more than effective and would not cost the American taxpayer.
Okay, but again, so the Democrats say that they want to do something to toughen border security. However, they don't want anything that has any kind of association to a wall, slats, whatever you name it. The president also seized on the case of border security, a tougher call for that after this California police officer died at the hands of an illegal immigrant. I want to play Police Chief Randy Richardson talking about California's sanctuary laws. The murdered officer, Ronil Singh, was actually an officer in his department. Listen.
I would hope that people out there find this tragedy for what it is. It's just a tragedy. I want to remember Ronil Singh and not really so much about everything else. It was a senseless tragedy. It could have been prevented. But unfortunately, we're here today having this conversation because it was not prevented.
Rachel?
He's absolutely right. This was a preventable death. And by the way, Nancy Pelosi and every other California lawmaker and those who voted for this, they're all responsible for this. This was preventable. Sanctuary cities do nothing but protect criminals. They actually don't help even illegal immigrants. I know that the Democrats like to say that, oh, this will help them report crimes. It doesn't. That's just cover for them. Sanctuary cities help no one. And absolutely, the death of this American hero, Officer Singh, is on the hands of those who support this ridiculous policy, which, by the way, outside of California, nobody thinks this makes any sense. It makes zero sense.
Jason, I'll give you the final word.
So again, I think sanctuary policies can be looked at, but the idea that people will not want to come forward and report crimes if they feel that their immigration status will be called into question is a real fear. There was a situation in Maryland where we had women who were being sexually assaulted but were afraid to come forward because they thought that they and their friends and partners
don't make the sanctuary city law so broad. You could adjust that sanctuary city law to do that.
All right, Jason, final thought, and then we really do have to go.
Yeah. So, again, I think that this would actually, we can certainly look at these policies. The man's death was a tragedy, but I would not throw away the idea of a sanctuary because it keeps people able to report crimes.
All right, Jason and Rachel, thank you very much. Fair and balanced.